If you grew up in a place like this, or even this, you are an extremely strong person. Let me explain. See, the hurricane was loud, but the silence after, that's what stayed with you. People talk about the wind, the zinc flying, the thunder shaking your bones, but what they don't talk about is waking up the next morning in the same clothes you wore to pray for your life and realizing you're still here, but everything else feels gone. Nobody tells you how quiet it gets when the storm ends. No wind, no voices, no cars. Just you and the dripping of water from your ceiling, from your clothes, from your eyes, if you're being honest. You walk through the house barefoot because your slippers, they're floating by the bathroom door. The fridge is open, but all it's holding is spoiled dreams. The smell of sour chicken or spoiled milk hits before you even open it, and you just close it back. You tell yourself you'll deal with it later. But the truth is, you're already full of overwhelm, full of quiet panic, full of a type of tiredness that doesn't sleep off. You start cleaning, not because you feel strong, but because you have to. You wipe the same spot 3 times, like you're trying to erase what just happened, but the storm happened. And now everything feels unfair. The curtains are still wet, the walls feel smaller, even your own bed feels like a stranger. They told you to prepare, buy batteries, get water, charge your phone, but they didn't tell you how to sit with grief. How to stand in your house and feel like a visitor. How to smile at your children when you have no idea what comes next. And that's when you check your phone. It's dead. Like the fridge, like the internet, like the outside world. Even when you finally get a signal, nothing.
Nothing!
No missed call, no messages. The same people who were flooding your inbox before the storm, gone. And that's when it hits you. The hurricane didn't just knock out the power, it knocked out the people too. You sit down on a wet chair because it's the only one not broken. And you cry. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet. The type of cry where tears falls, but your face doesn't even move because you don't have the energy. You ever try to dry a mattress with a towel and pure hope? You flip it, you sun it, you press it with your hands, and it still smells like fear. And your mother in the back room yelling,
"Wipe out the jars too. You just can't wipe what people see."
That line alone is a metaphor for Caribbean parenting. You're just not allowed to be half healed. You have to wipe everything, even the parts nobody's looking at. You make tea, you boil water on a gas stove that's rusted at the end. You drink it because it's something hot, something normal. But the truth is, nothing feels normal. Not the house, not the silence, not the tea. You sip it and stare into space like the mug is going to answer the questions in your head. And just when your stomach starts asking for food, you open the fridge and remember. Spoiled, gone, all of it. The meat, the cheese, the hope. But this is the part I'll never forget. You go outside, still barefoot, still dazed, and you look around. And right there in the yard, just like a miracle, 3 coconuts, 2 breadfruit, and a few green bananas that got knocked down from the wind. You blink like you're dreaming. You pick them up with trembling hands, not even sure if they're usable. But when you bring them inside and lay them on the table, they feel like a blessing. That night, you roast breadfruit on an open flame and boil green bananas in water. You crack coconut, grate it by hand, and boil rundown in what little seasoning you had left. And when the food done, you sit down in the dark with your family, sweating from the heat, still smelling like storm water, and you eat. You eat like it's a feast, because somehow it is. That's what Caribbean people do. We make blessings out of broken things. You might be eating in the dark, but it's still dinner. It's still love. And somehow, it's enough. The kids don't know everything that went wrong. All they know is that the dumplings came out soft and there's coconut milk everywhere in that rundown. And when they say, "Oh, that tastes good," you nod and you smile. But deep down, you're holding back tears because deep down you know you didn't just cook. You performed a miracle. And yet, when the light still doesn't come back, when the roof still leaks and nobody checks in, you start to feel it again. That heaviness, that fear, that sadness. Because you survived the hurricane, but you're still waiting to feel safe again. And the children ask you, when is the light coming back? When will we go back to school? Is the storm coming back? And you don't have any answers, so you make up gentle ones. But in your heart, you're just trying to hold it together so they don't fall apart too. Then, out of nowhere, you open your back door and see your neighbor's garbage bin, sitting in a mango tree, and you laugh. Not because it's funny, but If you don't laugh, you cry again. And you already cried twice today. You think the hurricane was the hardest part? It wasn't. The real pain comes after. The slow return to life, the things you try to fix that never feels the same, the grief you can't name, the quiet, and that's what you don't talk about. You'd think after the storm passed, life would go back together. But the silence stays. Not just the quiet outside, but the quiet inside too. Every time the thunder rolls in the distance, your chest tightens. Every time the wind blows too hard, you pause and wait. Like a part of you believes it could still happen again. Like you never really come out of the hurricane. But you keep moving. You boil water, wash the same clothes again and again. Not because you feel whole, but because in a Caribbean household, that's what survival looks like. You keep busy, even when you're hurting, even when you're lost. And slowly, little signs start showing up. A neighbor who brings out a handful of rice. A cousin who says, "Hey, we still have gas. Come cook at our house." Somebody passes you a candle. Another offers you a phone charge. It's quiet, it's unspoken, but it's real. Because even when the world forgets you, the village doesn't. And that's what makes Caribbean people different. We don't wait for permission to find joy again. We sit on the veranda with no lights and still tell jokes. We light candles and still play dominoes. We share the last slice of breadfruit like it's Sunday cake. We find a reason to laugh even while standing in mud. And maybe that moment when you found breadfruit, banana and coconut scattered in the yard, that wasn't just survival, that was grace. You didn't realize it then, but that table of random food was a miracle. You took what the storm knocked down and turned it into dinner and joy and laughter. You didn't just eat that night. You reclaimed something. Because sometimes God doesn't show up in thunder or lightning. He shows up in small things. A working lighter, a dry bedspread, a neighbor who brings salt, a pot of tea when your soul feels empty. These miracles are never loud, but they are always right on time. One day somebody patches the roof, another day the light comes back on. A little boy kicks a soda bottle down the street again, and you realize life is slowly creeping back. Not all at once, not perfectly, but enough. By the following Sunday, there is soup on the fire, the pot bubbling, neighbors calling out from the fence, children chasing each other through puddles, and someone, somewhere starts playing old-time gospel on their phone. Not loud, but loud enough to make you close your eyes and whisper, "Thank you." Because the hurricane wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the waiting, the uncertainty, the feeling of being forgotten. But it also revealed something powerful. It reminded you that you still have strength, that you still know how to make a way, that even when the lights are off, the soul of the Caribbean still shines. You were never just surviving. You were stitching joy back together with coconut milk, candlelight, and the echoes of your grandmother's voice saying,
Take your time. God's still in control.
You're not the same person that stood in the storm, and that's okay, because now you know what you're made of. So if you know what surviving any kind of storm in your life feels like, comment stormproof below. Hit that like button and don't forget, it's not just a destination, it's the journey. Stay strong.